Namaste, and welcome to another great day at the Mike and Connor Homestead. I wanted to do kind of a bee episode along with some garden stuff today. I didn't go into the beehive, but I've been doing some research on the bees. I picked up a book called The Beekeeper's Handbook per the request of a very smart old school beekeeper that told me that was the best book to have. So did a little reading in the book. Also looked on YouTube a little bit more at a couple other people that are doing beehiving. I went on one video and this lady has welded together these metal frames and gusseted the square hives, kind of like what I've got, the boxed hives, into a tree and used tie downs and tie downed it into a tree to try and mimic what a beehive would be in the wild. Really like the idea. She was kind of saying that with bees being on the ground, that they're very susceptible to attacks from yellow jackets, which I think build their hives in the ground and are more bottom attackers, so they attack or do their thing on the ground. And one of honeybees' defenses is the fact that they're up in a tree, and with all of the hobby beehivers who basically run the beehives on the ground, it's making them a lot more susceptible to new attack methods. So, Tim! So basically, kind of thought there were some really good ideas in there. She also was talking about how a conventional beehive would be inside of a tree, which normally has 6 to 7 inches of wood around it. And then the box hives have maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch of wood around them, so it's not as insulated. There was also some discussion on fungal kind of life in the tree, and that could be beneficial for the bees. They're kind of doing some research on it. They're not sure or not if there's beneficial fungal stuff growing in trees that also helps bees. So I really thought that she kind of hit the nail on the head, kind of looked at, okay, where do bees naturally live? Oh, in trees, and here we are with bees that are, a couple inches off the ground. And I was like, oh, great point. So, I mean, I do see a lot of difficulty in running a hive in a tree because you have to use a ladder to access the hive. Because, I mean, these are a little bit, not super high, maybe 8-10 feet in the air. But, I mean, to get up on a ladder and then, manually grab each hive, they're anywhere between 40 to 80 pounds per box, depending on if it's a super-sized box or a deep-sized box. The deep-sized boxes are 80 pounds and full, and 40 pounds for the supers, which are like the honey size. So I think it could be a little bit more dangerous trying to get an awkward 40 to 80 pound box up, down on a ladder. But, the idea is good. So I don't know if I'll ever end up doing it, but I just really thought that she was, very intelligent for thinking of things that way. So that was my thought for that. And then I had a really good day today for cucumbers. I was getting 2 a day, and now I'm getting like 5 or 6. So here's the 5. Well, actually I had 6 today, I ate 1 already. But these are really good. They have spikes on them. So when I take them off, Tim really likes them. He's probably trying to get a meal in here because he eats them too. I give him a piece of them. But when I pop them off the tree, they kind of stab me because they got these little spikes on them. So I got to get the spikes off before I eat them. And then I also had another round of lettuce. I've got 3 big bowls of lettuce here. And so, yeah, doing pretty good with the lettuce. Again, this is my 2nd round this year. I had a 1st round already. Just went through and processed all of that. I also wanted to show you guys my watermelons because I think that this is going to be my 1st year getting watermelons, so really happy about that. So let's, I'm going to move the camera around. We're going to, hands in the way of course, but we're going to go ahead and look at some of the other gardening stuff I've been doing. I also had some wildflowers that really took, so let me grab the camera and we'll go look at that. So hope y'all are having another great weekend. It's been a quick weekend for me. I did a lot of work again, but got everything I needed to get done.
So I planted these from seed. I noticed that there's a ton of flying animals going in there. Not necessarily my bees. I've got flies and other pollinating creatures going in here to pollinate all these flowers, but just thought it was just really cool to see all the different varieties. Little background on where I got these seeds from. My father-in-law passed away, unfortunately, earlier this year, and we were going to the funeral, and I saw that they were giving away these seeds, and to pay homage to him because he was an awesome gardener, I felt like this was the least I could do to make a little kind of garden for him. I planted a couple of trees for him as well. We bought him grapes a couple of years ago, and they're doing really well at his house, so I planted these grapes this year as well for him. He was just a really good gardener and kind of motivated me to do gardening as well, so I wanted to say R.I.P. to Ismail. He was my father-in-law, really very good gardener. He was going to show me how to do watermelon before he passed, because he consistently got watermelon every year, and I never got watermelon. I'd always get them too late in the season, so this year I think I'm going to do it. And so there's my biggest watermelon here. And then I've got this plant in the front is got a lot of little ones. So you can see there's one here. There's a little guy. I think that I counted 4 altogether. Here's one right here. And there's another one in there somewhere. It's really small, I think, if I recall correctly. And then this guy over here, flowering like crazy. You can see there's a bee. The bees really like these, so you can see him going from flower to flower, just doing the job we need to get done. There are also a ton of flowers in the squash. Been getting a lot of squash. It's super good. I planted the summer squash variety, and we've gotten between 2 and 4 a day, so really working really good with the squash. There's another little guy there. So we've been making everything from like stir fries to my mom's gonna make some bread today, and so this Three Sisters thing I think is a win, and I'm probably going to continue to do this year over year. And if you haven't seen my previous episodes, the Three Sisters is corn, squash, and beans. And my beans didn't make it. I think it got too hot and it cooked them when they were young, but I still got the squash and the corn. So next year I'll probably try and plant the beans a little earlier in the season just to assure I get them. I also took out the snow peas. They were all kind of dead. You can see them over there in the field. I fed them to the chickens, as well as there's my stalks from all the lettuce that I just processed. And then this is the garlic. I actually purposely bent it over, so that releases a lot more energy into the actual garlic itself. It doesn't have to hold up the stalk on the top. The energy is then transitioned into the actual garlic itself, and I'm getting ready to turn off the water to this one. So the beginning of the curing for garlic is to discontinue giving it water, and then after that you pull them once the soil is dry, then you hang it upside down until it dries out, and then you're ready to go. So I want to make sure I get a ton of energy into the garlic itself to start off. That way then I get some really potent garlic, and then from there I'll hang it. So you can see what I did with my irrigation here. I've got these red switches that turn it off. So each bed has a switch, so I have an option to turn some off and run others. So that's kind of why I do that. Again, I want to say, as always, actually I haven't been doing my shout out. I'm going to give today's shout out to Ismail, my late father-in-law. He was an awesome father-in-law, really motivated me to do all of this. Very, very good gardener, and great dad to my wife, and great father-in-law to me. Really good guy, and we had a really good relationship before he passed, and so shout out goes to Ismail. And with that, I want to say mahalo for watching as always. If you like, hit the thumbs up and subscribe.